There's something growing in Calgary. After setting an all-time record for housing starts in 2023, builders say they could do it again this year. Through to the end of July, construction started on more than 13,600 housing units in Calgary. That's a 40% increase from the same period last year.
We're sort of on track for housing starts in Calgary to potentially set a new record.
That number includes single-family homes, condos, apartments, and townhomes. Since the start of the year, on average, construction in Calgary has started on 64 homes every day. And it's not just this city. Across Alberta, builders started construction on nearly 26,000 housing units. The industry says it's on pace to beat the all-time record set nearly 20 years ago.
Effectively, you're looking at another record-breaking year coming off a previous record-breaking year.
But here's the thing, despite the potentially record-setting numbers, it's still not enough to ease pressure on rental rates or house prices, according to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. The rising supply isn't enough to meet the surging demand fueled by record-setting population growth in Alberta.
Across the country, the industry is nowhere near close to building that amount of houses that are needed, that's right. And it will definitely impact affordability. The old adage of supply and demand, it holds true.
That means continued pressure on prices. Build Alberta, the residential construction industry group, says it's confident the record-setting pace of new home construction will alleviate pressure on rental and home ownership prices in Alberta. But the question is when. According to some builders, it could be a while, possibly years. The demand for housing creates demand for more skilled workers, and supplies, and materials, and land, and municipal approval and inspections. But labor, finding and paying tradespeople remains a big hurdle.
When labor's in such short supply, again, a lot of the trades or the labor still demands that higher rate. And unfortunately, until you have an excess of supply of labor, it's impossible really for a builder to get a price reduction and be able to pass that on to a customer.
That is probably one of the largest challenges our industry is facing, is just the lack of skilled labor shortages. So that is something that, our organization, our industry has been working on. It is one of those items that takes, it's a long-term initiative.
So how many more homes would be needed to ease pressure on prices in Alberta? The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says a lot more than the levels we're seeing.
We would need to build basically another 130,000 units by 2030, based on those estimates, which are based on demographic and economic projections. If we were to see this kind of population growth persist over the remainder of this decade, we would have to have about 58,000 housing starts per year this year and for the next 6 years.
To put that in context, if Alberta sets a new record this year, the total number of housing starts would be just under 50,000. Builders say there are a lot of hurdles to clear to get there. And aside from labor, they say the time it takes for cities to approve projects is a major barrier.
I think the strain has also obviously been not only in labor, but also in the municipalities' capacity. And maybe that's related to their own people power, but stuff like getting inspections done, getting permits done, and back to you in a timely manner. A lot of those timelines have also been extended because they just don't have the capacity to execute on the number of homes being permitted out there.
Now, the City of Calgary posts timelines for how long you can expect to wait for things like development approvals and inspections. To get a development permit, it took an average of 2.5 months to get a permit for dwellings in a developed area. And building inspections for single and semi-detached buildings are taking an average of 4 days to get that type of permit. Now, some of these averages are longer than the city's target timelines. That 4 days for building inspections is double the 2-day target that the city sets. In a statement, the city says the volume of permits and inspections requested fluctuates, so can its timelines. It points to difficulty in finding experienced safety code officers and leaders to carry out inspections, and says these volumes, along with increasing application complexity and resourcing gaps, have resulted in slower permit processing timelines for some application types.
Quicker approvals are a definite need. There's been some improvement, but we always need more and faster. But in addition to that, I would say the collaboration between government and industry working hand in hand right at the onset of some new growth policies to ensure that we get it right from the beginning on faster timelines, as well as improving the efficiency of our growth.
Builders say they're doubtful capacity can increase much more without some of those obstacles being cleared away.
We will continue to grow, but there's limiting factors based on approval of new communities, trade capacity, various other factors that are impacting our ability to continue to meet that demand.
They say the growth is key to tackling the housing crisis.
We really need this, response on the supply side. Going forward, if we are to sort of look down the road and try to maintain a certain level of affordability.
A potentially record-breaking year that still falls short. Brian Labby, CBC News, Calgary.